People always ask if I get an E2 visa, which is based on a substantial investment in a non-marginal business, which is more like a traditional investor visa. If you get an investor visa, get my real estate license, right? Yep. But guess what? You can't do anything with that real estate license unless you happen to be the spouse of the visa holder. Why? Because your visa is tied to your business. So let's say that you're setting up a pizza shop, and I pick on pizza shops all the time. Pizza shop, what does a real estate license have to do with running a pizza shop? Nothing. So that brings me to my signature program, which is called How to Immigrate Through Real Estate, where you use real estate investing as a path to this visa. And in our model, which is a comprehensive custom-built business, we build the real estate license into the model.
This is everything they never told you about real estate with the AI queen, Carrie Soave, sharing the tech, tools, and lead gen strategies that top producers won't tell you about. Now, here's your host, Carrie.
Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm your host, Carrie, and I am with a very special guest, Lauren Cohen. And she is an international lawyer, public speaker, best-selling author, entrepreneur. Like, I feel like the list goes on and on, Lauren. And what she specializes in and why she's here today is investing and relocating to the US, which is what everybody wants to learn how to do these days. I feel like there's no shortage of real estate agents, not even just, investors, but and our clients, but real estate agents that want to relocate from Canada to the US.
Yep.
In fact, that's how we met. Somebody within my organization wanted advice and guidance on this. So you're providing that to her. So thank you so much for coming on today, Lauren. And
Absolutely.
You.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here, actually, even though I got to say, usually I'm selling the warmth in Florida, and I heard that it's snowing in North Florida today. So, it's not snowing here in South Florida, but it's not exactly a heat wave. So.
Okay. So you actually live in Florida now?
I do.
You're Canadian now.
I am.
And because obviously I use AI for everything that I do. I don't know if you know much about me, but so I had AI do all my research on you, of course, because we just met. And an interesting story about your, at the time, husband came up. So why don't we start there? And
always the fun part.
Right? Let's start there. And so everybody can understand why you're doing what you're doing and why you want to make an impact and help. So you got the floor.
It was February 2nd, 2007, and got married December 31st, 2006. We went on our honeymoon to Thailand. My ex-husband now was from Canada originally, and I didn't know that his status was not very kosher here. I had no idea about that. So we went on our honeymoon to Thailand, and on the way back from our honeymoon at Chicago O'Hare Airport, the government, the USCIS or Department of Homeland Security actually said, your husband is inadmissible to the US. They actually went like this, Carrie. They said, he's gone like this to the US government one too many times, and we're going like this right back to him. And I was like, what? I was sitting there standing. I was like, what? I couldn't believe that this head of Homeland Security at Chicago Airport was doing that. It was super high-handed. I didn't know what was going on. I was in the process of getting my green card. I didn't know that he had all these issues. And basically, he had sold illegal Rolexes at Cavendish Mall in Montreal when he was young, and he had been pardoned by the Canadian government. But I didn't know this either. Pardons from the Canadian government are not accepted for immigration purposes in the US. And so he was put in immigration jail, expeditiously removed, and subsequently deported. And here I am on the way back from our honeymoon. And they said, you can go back to Florida on your own, but he's not coming with you. And I was like, this is fun. So, it was never really a good match. That's a whole other plethora of reasons for that. And he was sent to where we flew in from, which was Osaka, Japan, and then sent back to Canada. Came back here. And we continued this literally charade for a few months and then got divorced. But when I got my green card, I actually had to go to Montreal to get it because we were still married, and I thought he was going to get a green card. And he was inadmissible. They wouldn't give it to him. But I had to go to Montreal because he wasn't allowed in the country. So, yeah. So I literally went through my share of, you know what, like I went through everything. I did TNs, NAFTA visas, H-1Bs. I did different visas, and I finally did get my green card, but he did not. And we got divorced in the process of that for a whole other, as I've said, plethora of reasons. But it really showed me, who knows what's going to happen now, because there's a lot of talk amongst the immigration bar about Trump and what he's doing. But at the time, it really showed me how kind of vulnerable we are. And especially, I didn't really know much. I was working in-house. I was doing corporate and healthcare law. I didn't know much about immigration other than my own process. And I decided it was time to become an expert. And that's what catapulted me into doing what I do now. And I wrote a book called Finding Your Silver Lining in the Business Immigration Process, because that's what I did. I found the silver lining in the adversities. Yeah. So when they say you can't really feel for your clients until you've been there, it's really true, because I really empathize with them, no matter what their plight, no matter what their challenges, no matter why they want to leave Canada or whatever. I've been there, been through a lot, and I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, and I wasn't born American. So I've been through it all.
Yeah. Well, my business coach has a famous saying, and he tells me this all the time. He says, you're most qualified to help those that you once were. Right?
Exactly. It's very, very true.
So this is actually, I feel safest when I'm seeking out advice or help from a professional who has walked in my shoes before. There's 100%. A level of trust that's built a lot quicker.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's a big deal. It's for sure a big deal. I mean, I think it's kind of like when you go to those business coaches and they've never run a company, but suddenly they're experts at coaching you. And I'm like, what are your qualifications? Like, well, you got lucky and you got into business coaching, but yeah, it's kind of, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I feel like I really can identify with my clients because of what I've been through.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So I want you to speak to real estate agents right now, because this show is geared, I'm sure we get your buyers and your sellers listening to this, but most of our audience is agents. And I mentioned already, a lot of agents that I'm coming across that are Canadian want to immigrate down to the US, places like Florida, get their license there, work there. And I've had this has been brought up to me several times, but I'm the type of person where I deep dive into everything. So if I don't have the time, I'm not even stepping close to it, which is why I'm so glad we met, because now I can just send them to you.
Sure.
Well, I don't know anything about it, but guess what? Lauren does, and she's an expert, so you need to talk to her.
Absolutely.
But are there different ways that you can go about getting your visa or citizenship or however this works? And do you focus on one of those specifically?
Sure, absolutely. So thank you for the question. So first of all, I got my real estate license here right after I got my green card, and I literally didn't use it until I joined EXP. And now I'm a really good referral partner because I don't know how to write up a contract if it hit me in the face. But one of the biggest advantages to getting your license in the US is that it takes I think you're joining me on Thursday. I'm doing a global realtor mastermind talking about the ease of transition into a US license, because it takes it's 180 hours, I think in Texas, but generally it's 50 to 70 hours. Like in Florida, it's 63 hours. How long is it in Ontario?
It's to get my license, I feel like it can take you a year or something.
Yeah. Okay. And it's Humber College or something like that. And it's not an easy task, right? And the reality is that the market down here, so first of all, it's 10 times the size. The opportunities are much greater. The cap rates are higher. You've got investment opportunities. The challenge is that getting your real estate license requires you to have a social security number. Okay. You can take the course. That doesn't require it. But to actually sit for the exam in most states, particularly Florida, does require you to have a social. So how do you get that? Well, you have to get a visa to get a social, or maybe you happen to go to school in the States or something like that. But not everybody did. Okay. So for the most part, you need to get a visa. Now, people always ask if I get an E2 visa, which is based on a substantial investment in a non-marginal business, which is more like a traditional investor visa. If you get an investor visa, I can get my real estate license, right? Yep. But guess what? You can't do anything with that real estate license unless you happen to be the spouse of the visa holder. Why? Because your visa is tied to your business. So let's say that you're setting up a pizza shop, and I pick on pizza shops all the time. Pizza shop, what does a real estate license have to do with running a pizza shop? Nothing. So that brings me to my signature program, which is called How to Immigrate Through Real Estate. Several years ago, at the end of COVID, I was advised by someone I met he's from Ottawa, he lives here at Little League, that my friends don't want to think, they want a streamlined process. So I was like, okay. And then I had so many real estate investors coming to me, Carrie, saying, how do I not buy a pizza shop? Who wants a pizza shop, right? So I was like, okay, there's got to be a way, because most immigration lawyers will say you cannot get a visa through real estate investing. And if you were to, then you would need a lot of doors, because otherwise, where's the business? Because you have to be running an active business. So I turned the model on its head and created this program where you use real estate investing as a path to this visa. And in our model, which is a comprehensive custom built business, we build the real estate license into the model. So for example, somebody like you who has a big following, let's say that you wanted to do this, we would build your coaching business and your speaking business and perhaps your investing business. And guess what? You need your license in order to be able to execute on da 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 da. And we build this business that incorporates the license. Now you can work with buyers, sellers, and investors, whereas before you could just have your license to do referrals or get the passive income like from residuals, right?
Yeah.
But with this model, you can actually work as a realtor within the scope of your business model. But it takes that customization. And that's why I created this, because it is a constant question. Thursday is the first time we're doing this event. We're going to be doing it once a month, but it's because of the demand. Like there's just so many people asking, how do I get my license? What do I do with my license? Why can't I use my license? So,
okay, so I love this. And I'm actually going to get the link from you after this to some of your stuff. So out the description below wherever you're watching or listening to this podcast, because I will be sharing links to sign up for webinars and learn more about what Lauren has to offer. Okay, who is this for? Like, who is this who is this service not for? Let's do that.
It's not okay. So listen, I'm a concierge, right? So it's not for somebody that's looking, in my mom's words, for cheap and cheerful. It's not for somebody that's looking for the easy way out, but it is for somebody that doesn't want to run a franchise or a business or a pizza shop, and rather wants to actually have an asset, real estate, and build a viable legacy opportunity for their family, for themselves. And God forbid you decide you don't want to continue with the visa. Guess what? You still have the asset, the real estate, right? Yeah. So it's not for somebody that maybe has a super successful business in Canada. I offer that service as well. Okay. We do offer any business owner that wants to bring their business here or start a business here, expand their business here, buy a franchise. We can do all of that. But this model is for those that don't want to do that or don't have that, or especially those that are in the real estate space or real estate game in Canada or anywhere for that matter. Because at the end of the day, the same rules apply no matter where you're coming into the country.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's take me, for instance, because
let's take you.
I feel, okay, so I have this business. I have like a couple of corporations here in Canada. Everyone kind of knows that my personal organization at EXP handles all of my sales, and I'm just getting referrals at this point. Like I'm kind of leading.
Sounds like me.
So yeah, like my business isn't, buying and selling anymore, and they're established businesses. But me and my husband have decided we definitely want to relocate to a warmer state eventually, because we have large dogs. It's expensive to travel with them. So if we could just in the next 3 to 5 years, maybe even sooner, just completely relocate somewhere with better tax incentives, stuff like that. And this is going to be, people are going to align with this. They're going to totally agree with me here.
I know.
Okay, can I move my existing corporations or would I have to start new ones? Like, how would that work?
So the beauty of that is that it doesn't impact you in Canada. So
Okay.
your Canadian companies can continue to make money. You just have to pay tax on them, and we have cross-border tax experts and all of that.
Mhm.
So there's no reason for you to have to bring them south. What you can do is incorporate maybe one of them as a general partner of the companies that we set up here. So there's a connection and a correlation. It really depends on your tax situation. And one thing I say whenever I speak, I don't comment on taxes. That's why I have tax experts, right? I pay them. That's about it. Okay. That's as far as it gets. So there are a lot of advantages of moving to the US, especially for people that are making a decent living, because your tax situation is definitely going to improve. Okay. And people are always scared, and I may as well address this elephant in the room. There's two things that are the most common questions right now. We know that one of them is about the dollar because it's a nightmare, right? And the other one is about healthcare. Those are my two most common questions from Canadians, or concerns. So it's not like I can say, oh, I'm going to sweep my magic wand and the dollar is going to be at par, because even though sometimes we do offer at par promotions, that doesn't help you overall. One thing I say, and I have a great currency exchange partner I would be happy to introduce to you to share with your tribe as well, is that it hits the first time. When I moved, the Canadian dollar was at an all-time low when I sold my house at downtown Toronto. And I lost a lot of money. But you know what? That was, I don't know, whenever, 2001, 2002, something like that. It's over.
Yeah.
I make now, every dollar I make is here in the US. As soon as you invest in a property, your return is going to be in US dollars, right? So that's one thing that we can overcome as much as possible, and we can save a great deal on exchange. I just saved a client, they bought a $600,000 property, and we saved them $15,000 or $18,000 compared to the other currency. Okay, exchange. The second, healthcare, there are options. Don't be scared. It's not as bad as it seems, and it's actually in many ways better because you actually can go and get what you need. My son had an MRI in, I want to say August, and out of pocket because there was some issue with the insurance. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It cost me $300. Okay. It's a lot better than waiting months and months, right? Okay. So those two things being said, Carrie and her husband want to move to the US. What do we do? Well, we're going to figure out where Carrie, and what's your husband's name?
Ricardo.
Ricardo. Does Ricardo by chance speak Spanish?
No, he's Italian.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
You'll meet him in Miami if you're going to be in Miami.
I will meet him in Miami. So Carrie and Ricardo want to move to Florida. So, and obviously continue with the business that they've built in Canada. This is a very common question. We would get you into a business. For you, like I said, we would probably buy a co-living property, invest in a co-living property. It's my favorite type of investment right now. Just to clarify what the heck that is. It's basically glorified student housing. So it's taking a single family home, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's like, let's say a 3 or 4 bedroom house. It can be as little as 1,600 square feet, and turning it into a 6 or 8 bedroom rental. And you rent each room as a room, just like student housing. And it can be extraordinarily lucrative. And guess what? It creates affordable housing, which then is very positive for the US, very well received for a visa, and is very lucrative. So now you can invest as little as $200,000 in one of these properties. Your total investment, of course, we're going to get you financing, can be as little as $200,000 total out of pocket to get a real estate-based visa where you can use your real estate license in the US. And I'm condensing all of this because I know we have limited time, so I'm trying to get it all out, right? Okay. I'm fast, but I'm not that fast. But anyway, the point is that we would buy one or two of these properties to get you started. But with you have all these other lines of business. So we're not going to be dependent just on the rental income. We're going to have coaching and speaking and all these other lines of business that you've built, and your residual income and your team and your referrals. And we're going to build that into a model down here that you can replicate what you're doing in Canada, pretty much. Hey, that's what I do. I can't help it. Okay. It's kind of like, yeah, I really, people are like, why do you work so much? Well, because I love it. I'm a single mom. I have a 14-year-old. Thank God I can actually leave him for hours at a time. But I love it. I love making a difference in people's lives. I love finding solutions. I love the fact that I can get somebody a US real estate license without them having to sit on their hands and not do anything with it.
Yeah. I have a question. One of my big goals is to have some kind of nonprofit for animals.
Okay.
Is that a route that I could take instead of a company?
No.
Okay.
So you can build a nonprofit. So what we could do with that is we could buy real estate to house this nonprofit and house the nonprofit as part of your business model, because you need either an office or a place to bring the animals. Like there's a lot of, the business needs to be for profit, but we can build a nonprofit into the business.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love this. And just for anybody listening, especially the Canadians, we're actually going to be co-hosting a webinar in February. We haven't locked down a date yet, but we're going to do that soon. So if you follow me, make sure you're watching for that registration, because Lauren's going to be there to answer all of your questions and kind of give you like a bigger picture and show you what's all involved here. So make sure that you definitely participate in that. I got a couple questions. I have a couple questions.
I just want to warn you before you ask them. If I say I can't answer, it's not that I'm trying to be rude. It's that I'm not allowed to impart like legal information. Okay. Yeah. But I'm trying to be open and give ideas. None of this is legal advice. I just have to clarify, because at the end of the day, I have licenses in 2 countries. I have to protect myself.
So are you using AI in your business, in your legal business?
Absolutely. We use AI first of all, I have voice issues. Okay. I have bloody long COVID. I've had it for 3 years and I cannot record videos. So if not for that, whatever the heck it is that makes up my voice, Hey Jen or something, I don't know. I don't think I'd have any videos out there. So absolutely, I use ChatGPT for like everything. Like the other day, I couldn't remember a word. What's the word for this? And it's like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the word. So I use it for everything. Since I'm an attorney, if I draft articles or blogs or posts or emails or whatever, I always edit, because I don't want to put it, it's not 100% reliable. But definitely AI, if you're not using it, you're going to be left in the cold. Literally.
Yeah, I only ask because lawyers either fall into 2 categories. They're either all about AI and how it can support their business, or they refuse to use it at all.
But I'm not like a typical lawyer, because I'm more like the general contractor. So I'm not actually doing doing all the heavy lifting. I'm making sure the heavy lifting is done. So if I'm not able to see the value of AI or I started using Amazon before Amazon was popular to use. And I used to be interviewed. People were like, what's your favorite app? Amazon, every day of the week. Why? Because I don't have to go to the store and buy the thing. It's efficient. If I don't like it, I go back to Whole Foods and then I end up spending $50 or $100 on crap I don't need. But it's like, I don't care. It's fun. Okay. So I think that really and truly you have to embrace change. And even though I'm a lawyer and I went to law school, I kind of was forced into being an entrepreneur. And I created this program that most lawyers are like, what? Like, how did you do that? I'm like, I don't know. It just happened. So you need to think outside of the box.
Yeah. So I have a corporate lawyer, obviously, for my businesses here in Toronto. And he's all about it. So yeah, he thinks that it's the future, and I trust people more if they're more open-minded. I love working with open-minded
Absolutely
people.
They just had a cruise. It's called the Marketers Cruise. I've been on it a few years. I didn't go this year because next year I'm going on a cruise with 80 real estate investors from across Canada. So I had to make a choice, and that was my choice. So anyway, this cruise is 500 people.
Yeah.
In some type of like coaching, speaking, it would be great for you, Carrie. Coaching, speaking, like authors, all kinds of different types of businesses. It's a great place to get amazing resources. And one of my resources, and maybe you can even help me and have a resource, is we do not get enough engagement on LinkedIn. I'm sorry, on YouTube. And YouTube is my number one source for non-traditional referrals. Like I just signed up a client from the Czech Republic, and I'm not even focusing on the Czech Republic, but it's, YouTube is so important. And I'll welcome anybody that you can refer, because I feel like we're just not getting out there. And sometimes it's about the message, getting the message often to the right number of people, and being on this kind of a podcast with you who has the following, whose people will ask the questions, and getting that exposure, because it's at the end of the day, it's always about how you get to the masses, and AI does help with that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So believe it or not, my YouTube has my smallest following of a couple thousand. And I find this is my theory. I think it's because my audience is real estate agents and they can't find an hour for which is why I repurpose everything into short form, and then that just hits tens of thousands.
Bite size. Okay.
But what I do in YouTube, I'm happy with the growth, because a year ago I had 20 followers.
Wow.
And it's been organic, and it's been very steady and very reliable. Every time I open the app, I open it every day, I have a couple of followers, a handful of followers. I'm super consistent, Lauren. Videos, my podcast videos, and then I do those once a week. And then I have my videos about AI I do once a week. And then my shorts that I put across all the other channels also go into YouTube Shorts. I'm super happy with it. I built a GPT that will build my video scripts for me, my titles, my descriptions, my tags. Okay.
Wow.
And then I run everything through vidIQ to fine tune it. Have you used vidIQ?
No.
Okay. Use that. That's an AI platform specifically for YouTube. Now, a lot of the ways that people get a lot of followers quickly is they advertise their videos. I've just never done anything like that. YouTube is like a completely separate beast than anything else. However, it is going to be a very important factor in being recommended and discoverable by AI search engines. Whatever I'm doing, it's working. I'm getting recommended. I'm happy with the slow burn.
Right. Like tortoise in the hair, right?
But all I use is AI. And maybe one day I'll hire somebody, but god damn, it's expensive. And the reason I do what I do is because leverage is so freaking expensive.
Yeah.
For what we do in terms of content creation. I've made it my literal business, my bread and butter, to figure out how to lower the cost of that leverage by using AI everywhere.
Smart. Yeah. Well, I will look into that. Thank you.
Definitely check that out. Which cruise are you going on? So
You mean ship-wise?
Yeah, you said you were going on a real estate. Yeah.
Right. So you've heard of Wealth Genius?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
It's like Keyspire. It's a real estate investor group.
Oh, and Courtney and Melanie Atkinson are a part of that. They're Calgary.
Yeah. My partner's in Calgary, actually. But so this guy, Mario Lamar, you may know him. He has a podcast called The Top 5 Real Estate Questions or something like that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Mario, I've been on these cruises, and Mario this is the first year he's doing this cruise, and it's for mostly Canadians. There's 80 people in the group going, and I have some colleagues going. I'm a sponsor, and it's really just to learn about investing in real estate, mainly in Canada and Belize, and then of course the US. So I'm the US side, and I'm really looking forward to it, and it'll be fun. So we're going on a Carnival ship, but I've been on 52 cruises, so really? I go on a lot of cruises.
I was afraid of ships, and I went to go on my first ship to speak at Build for Veronica in August, and I was shitting myself. I was like, oh my God. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. It was the ship's really big, and I just didn't know. I've never been on one before.
Which ship was it?
It was like the new cruise line. but it was like the newest and largest ship that they had. So there was that.
Maybe next year I'll go with you guys and speak at Build.
Yeah, 100% you should. I
Yeah.
want to connect you with everybody because I feel like this is the for the past, I'd say 5 years, this has been the hot topic among agents themselves. Forget about like my neighbor that wants to get the hell out of here because he hates Trudeau. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about agents. And they just want to build a business in the US or Mexico. That's another one. I'm losing one of my girls to Mexico next year, but no, she's still going to work with me. She's just going to be there.
Well, I mean, the problem is, look, we're both Canadian, even though I'm also American, but I'm still more proud to be Canadian. Thank you very much. So Canadians, and there's no offense to anybody, okay? I love you all, but you ask a lot of questions and there's a lot of fear. And people don't know how to take the first step, okay? I mean, look, think about it. You've gone to school for a year or a little less in Canada to get your real estate license. That's a big commitment. This is not as much, well, it's obviously a commitment, but it's a lifestyle opportunity. You want to live. I mean, I look outside, I'm freezing today. I'm wearing like a warm jacket. Yesterday I was wearing like fur because it's like 65 degrees, which is like 20 or 18. Okay. Look, okay. And I know that it's like, -8 or some crazy number up there. And I'm thinking like my body adjusted and I'm spoiled, and it's just, I've been here since 2001. I cannot imagine living in Canada again because if for nothing else than the weather. Now, I'm Jewish. So now I have this anti-Semitism that is running rampant across Canada. That's another driving factor. But Canadians have a lot of fear. And it is scary. I know it's scary. But if you have the right people guiding you, it's going to be way less scary. And the other thing to remember is getting your visa does not mandate that you move. Getting a visa means you have opportunity and you have an insurance policy in your pocket. And guess what? When God forbid, if COVID comes again and there's a mask mandate, you have somewhere to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's when we were so busy at the tail end of COVID, like 2 winters ago. It was insane. 100 inquiries a day because people were like, get me out of here. So I think it takes time. Some people come back a year later, but if you don't start the journey, you're never going to make it. So at least take the time, learn about your options, come to the mastermind, set up a call with me, and let's figure out how to actually make this your reality, because the only thing stopping you is you. And you speak for a living. You know that drill.
Yeah, 100%. Now, what would you say? I think you gave me a number earlier. What's like high end, worst case scenario? How much would this cost them?
Including your down payments on real estate, between $2 and $250.
Okay. Do you
US.
Do you find that agents, real estate agents in general, are reluctant to invest in themselves? Because
100,000%.
that I come across all the time, and I have some theories on this, Lauren. I think that real estate is truly unique in that it is one of the only careers and businesses that you can build with zero investment outside
100% of the time, yes, it's true.
right?
So there's no risk.
Yeah. So you have like, that's the standard, not having to invest. So I think they need to be reminded the potential after the investment is made. Do you have any success stories that you can share with me on Canadian agents that have successfully done this, used your formula to do it, and scaled their business or built something of their dreams?
So we only started this process 2 years ago. Everybody is at different stages. Some have been in status for a year, some less than a year. It takes about 6 months. We have people that are making money. I have only worked with 2 realtors so far, and both are currently in process of getting their visas. Like, the applications were just submitted. So that short answer is no. But the long answer is that we don't just abandon ship when you get your visa. Okay. And most of the time, lawyers, they just kind of do what they're supposed to do. No offense, but they do. They do their little thing. And then they're like, have a nice day and come back to me if you want a green card, you want a renewal. But with me, it's a relationship because I live, eat, and breathe for this. Like I care deeply about results and I want everybody to be successful because this is my baby. It's not just I'm getting you a visa. I created this model. It's mine. And actually now there's even an option to partner with us that we take a 10% interest in the business, which expedites the whole process because it's going to help you get financing more quickly, get your tax IDs more quickly, get access partnerships and all kinds of different real estate options. So that's something we're just launching now. So all I can say is we'll be with you through the journey.
I love this. And you are an EXP licensed agent yourself, which means that you can have your clients partner with you so that you have invested interest in their success after.
Correct.
They start trading in the US, which is super important. Like just because you get down there and then you're like, what the hell do I do?
It's a lot.
Building a business from scratch. Question for you. Is it any different building a business in Florida than in Canada?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. It's so in Canada, there's a lot of bureaucracy, right? Okay. Here's an example, just as an analogy. Okay. So I have my I have my law license in Ontario and my law license in the US. Okay. It's not in Florida, but it's irrelevant. Okay. So my law license in Ontario, I pay about $2,000 to have an inactive license because I don't use it. I just pay the Law Society every year to have this license because I went to law school at Osgood and I don't want to give it up. Okay. I pay $400 to be an active US lawyer. 400. Okay. And it's just like that analogy on its own to me is indicative. Like look at 63 hours versus a year to get your real estate license. It's all about the bureaucracy and the regulations and the regulatory nightmare that you often deal with and all of the reporting and all of the like where how you set up your website and get it. Yes, it's much easier to run a business in the US every day of the week.
I love that. And is it fair to say that if you know how to get clients in Canada, you should be able to apply the same concepts to get in Florida?
I wouldn't say that it's not the same. And anybody that tells you that doing business in the US is the same is lying to you because it's not. There's a lot of things that you have to adjust to. Banking is different. Healthcare is different. There are things that you take for granted and you think, because I'm in Canada, oh, we're just north of the border. Like I took political science, I learned and communications, mass communications. I learned all about American everything. But until you're here, it's not the same. And there is a learning curve. And there is a lot of stuff that happens in the process when you have children. How do you, the schools and there's consideration. So I don't want to minimize that, but at the same time, everybody else has done it, and you will have friends, and you will have people that care. And if you move to a place where there are Canadians, like where I am, I'm now setting up I'm setting up a mastermind for Canadians in Boca Raton. We've had our first meeting because we want to help each other to be successful, right? So it's a friendly place. You're not going to move to some place that isn't friendly to Canadians. And that's what also we help with because, some people want to move to Texas because they have family members there or whatever. So don't worry. It's not business as usual, but it's not like overwhelmingly scary either.
Yeah, I love that. It's all about finding somebody you can trust that can guide you through, which is why I wanted to have Lauren on today and why she's going to be speaking to my organization and my network of agents, because I want to put somebody in front of them that knows their shit, basically.
If I don't know my shit by this point, I'm in a lot of trouble.
Okay, so closing thoughts. I think everybody should imagine themselves in the warmth right now. Close your eyes. You're on a beach and you can hear the water You're in Florida, so are we on the Gulf or on the ocean?
No, we're on the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, we're on the ocean side. I think we're in Miami or
Well, it's soon to be called the Gulf of America, by the way, just saying.
And you really feel at peace and you're where you should be.
Yeah.
And you're surrounded with friends that want to see you win in business and in life. And you're finally living your life on your terms. Okay. Those are the possibilities. Anything is possible, people. Anything is possible. Look at my life. Look at Lauren's life. Look at everybody's life. Anything's possible. And I will do anything I can to help facilitate getting you connected to the right people to make your perfect life happen. So, Lauren, thank you so much for coming.
It's a pleasure.
And don't forget, everyone, register when you see those videos for our webinar workshop that we're going to have in February. Make sure to register for that. It will not disappoint. You get to meet Lauren in person. She's so lovely to talk to, so down to earth. And thank you so much, Lauren, for coming on. I appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you, Carrie, for having me. I stuck the link for the mastermind in our chat, and I'm going to be in Toronto in April, so maybe we can do a live event together.
Let's do it. Fantastic.
All right, perfect. Have a great evening. Thank you for the opportunity. Bye for now.